Welcome to Monsuno, where you hold the world's most powerful monsters in your hand. You and your foe each need a Monsuno figure and core, as well as the matching Monsuno card and a minimum of 5 strike cards. You and your foe are each trying to defeat the other's Monsuno by reducing their hit points to 0. When you're both set, say Monsuno ready. To determine who goes first, say 1, 2, 3 Monsuno, and then launch your cores at the same time. Whoever's core spins longest is the attacker first. The other is the defender. To launch, the defender says Monsuno launch and spins their core onto the battlefield. Then the attacker spins and tries to make impact. One of 3 things can happen. If the attacker misses, there's no combat, no damage, and the turn is over. The attacker and defender switch roles, and the next turn starts. If there's a collision and both Monsunos are released, combat begins with an attacker advantage. More on that later. If there's a collision and only one Monsuno is released, or no Monsunos are, combat begins with no advantage. Once the attacker makes impact, you both say Monsuno combat, and combat begins. There are 5 steps. First, you and your foe each draw 2 strike cards. Choose one and discard the other one. Once you've both selected the strike card you want to use, say Monsuno combat and reveal your cards. But if both figures are released from their cores, the attacker gets to see the defender's strike card before choosing their own strike card to play. Each card has a strike type shown by the strike icon in its lower corner. Each card also has 2 strike icons in its attack gauge near the top of the card. If one of the icons in your attack gauge matches your foe's strike type, you dominate. It's not over yet though, because your opponent's attack could also dominate you. If you both play the same strike type, you have to check speed. Whoever has the highest total dominates. The attacker wins if there's a tie. Each Monsuno card and strike card has a basic strike damage. The higher the number, the more damage it can dish out. In this case, you'd want to choose 20 from the lock Monsuno card, since 20 is larger than the 0 on the elemental bunker strike card. You do more damage. You'd also want to choose 10 from the Hades Sting strike card instead of 20 from the / Monsuno card, so you'd receive less damage. Basically, when you dominate, you get to choose how much damage you dish out and how much damage you take. Mark the damage with counters. Each counter is 10 points. After that, both players can attach their strike cards to their Monsunos. But only if the strike card strike type matches one of the powered-up strike icons on the Monsuno, and a card of that type isn't already attached. If you can attach, slide the strike card underneath the Monsuno card so only the bottom part of the strike card is visible. If you can't attach, discard the strike card. Once you have 2 attached strike cards that match the 2 powered-up strike icons on your Monsuno is powered up. When you're powered up, you can choose your powered-up damage instead of your basic damage. If you use your powered-up damage, you have to discard both attached strike cards afterwards. After the attach phase, the turn is over. You and your foe alternate as attacker and defender as the battle continues. Keep launching, spinning, and battling until one Monsuno's hit points are reduced to 0. The other player wins. Monsuno has some special rules you'll want to read about in the combat manual. Every figure has a combat icon that gives it a special ability. Lots of cards have special rules printed in their text box, and timing icons that tell you when they happen. Most cards have a manufacturer. It's best when your strike card and Monsuno match. Some cards are generic. They match all of the manufacturers. You just saw the intermediate game. The basic game is even faster. Just use your core, figure, and the matching Monsuno card. Take turns being attacker and defender. The Monsuno with the lowest hit points is the attacker first. Don't use strike cards and domination. Instead, the attacker deals damage equal to all the combat icon numbers on all the Monsunos that ejected. That's it. When one of the Monsunos runs out of hit points, it's defeated. If questions come up while you're playing, do what seems best. Or check your rulebook or visit Monsuno.com. Now it's time to hit the battlefield. Lead your Monsuno monsters into battle. Elevate your game and become the Monsuno controller you are destined to be. Monsuno, monster power in your hand.